Hello, I am live. It finally happened. All right. Well, I'm going to take a deep breath. There we go. I have not been visible for a while, so let me reintroduce myself. Hello, I'm Jessica. I am the operator of Keys to Ease LLC, and I have had my business operating for 3 years now. I think it's been 3 years now. And through this time, really, I wanted to come in and start my business off at this place where I was able to share all this beautiful knowledge that I was collecting and how I was taking this knowledge and turning it into wisdom for myself. And I wanted to share that. And I did, and it was beautiful, but it didn't feel like it was really aligned for me. I'd have to say, after I finished my conscious awareness class, I really stepped into understanding that I needed to really take some time to spend in Christ conscious energy, and I did. And I've spent the last couple of years just really being in the 5D, being in the Christ conscious energy, and just true. Hold on. Let me make sure I'm going live and sharing this out. I forgot to do that. Haha. One moment, please. I'm so silly. I forget I haven't been live for a long time and it glitched. So let me share this to. Oh, I don't know. I'll share it later. It's too confusing. I came out to share my stuff. I spent some time in Christ conscious energy. I enjoyed my time in the Christ conscious energy. I stayed there for as long as I could. And then I came back to the 3D and I started navigating in the 3D again. And I remembered why I enjoyed the 5D so much. So that's a lot of blah, blah, blah. And if you haven't done the work, you probably don't really understand what the heck I'm talking about. So for me, starting life was extremely difficult. I'd have to say all the way up until 38, it was just a whole lot of conforming to others and trying to people please and aligning to their beliefs and not really questioning what they were. And then I came to 38 where my body was falling apart. I was miserable. I just didn't want to live anymore. In truth, I wanted to check out. I thought my daughter would be better off with her dad, and I couldn't be a mean person. This whole hurt people energy was just too much for me, and it became to a time where it just became exactly that, too much. And because of that, you know, honestly, I feel like because of that, that's where I was able to really first truly hear God's voice, and God nudged me into conscious awareness and into healing with my auric field. And it was great that I had this knowledge of healing my auric field and and the Christ conscious, or it wasn't even Christ conscious, it was just conscious awareness. In fact, it was the best because it gave me space to release all my beliefs, release everything. Because if I was ready to roll over and no longer live anymore, then Why was I fighting for anything I believed in? Like, what was it that I believed in? Is that even something, you know? And so for me, it was very easy for me to release everything that I had ever truly believed in and just start over, refresh, you know? And I feel like that's what I did. And then I found human design. I found Eric. And with Eric, I found a community, a beautiful freaking community where I actually got to like meet people who wanted to be the better selves too. We were all striving to stand in our own energetic energy of who we are, take accountability for who we are, heal the things that needed to be healed, transmute the slower energy, and just really stand into who we are. So amazing. It really was. And, you know, in that, in fact, actually at this moment, I'm going to bring in a person that I met in the community, my beautiful soul sister that I have been journeying with for the past 4 years. And at this moment, I'm going to introduce Pamela. I can see you. Can I get an real quick, a shake of your head if you're ready for me to? Okay, let's bring her on. We have my beautiful Pamela. Would you like to introduce yourself?
I just realized I need to unmute myself. So hello, 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 hello.
Hello.
Ah, so have to excuse me. I am getting over a little purge, so there's a little bit of a cough that's coming up now and again. I just wanted to share. So yeah, thank you, Jessica, for introducing me. So yeah, with Jessica, I've been journeying with human design near enough the same amount of time as Jessica, and we've had our own unique journeys. And we've just recently come back together and realized that we have, on these journeys, we have found different strengths of ourselves with human design, and we've experimented in different ways. And yeah, I'm just sitting here listening to Jessica, what she's saying, and having a look at her chart because I've always dived into human design charts myself. Um, But yeah, a little bit about myself though before I go into that. I'm in the UK, in a little place called Newmarket, which is a little horse racing town. So if you're into horse racing, most of you probably heard of Newmarket, and it's just outside of Cambridge. Um, I live with my husband and two kids, and my youngest is actually a reflector. So if you have heard of human design, you may be aware that reflectors are very, very rare breeds, and that's what really allowed me to dive into human design a bit deeper to understand my children. And as much as it's to learn to discover ourselves, it's also here to teach our children and our future generations how to be their divine selves without this conditioning. They don't do have to do the work that we've been doing the last 4 years of deconditioning all the crap that's been coming through, like honestly. And
It has
so
been.
they have that freedom to be their true authentic selves without feeling persecution or worthless or judgment or any of the things that are non-serving to the psyche, um, and to the body as well, because we end up punishing ourselves, and that could be through lots of different ways, either through drugs, alcohol, food, over doing things, keeping ourselves busy, people pleasing, you name it. They're all forms of ways of punishing ourselves so that we can't put that love into ourselves and look after ourselves.
Completely.
Mm.
I think right there is the perfect place to go into this. And then as we go into this, I'm gonna go ahead and add my design on here. So,
Hmm.
you know, you can we can our agenda for this coming together and sharing of this is a generator's experiment. I'm a manifesting generator, which is still a generator. Pamela is also a generator. And, you know, we make up the majority of the humans. and we're here to do stuff. We're here to respond to energy. We're here to transmute. And the beautiful thing is, with the two of us, you get to see just two different frequencies of generators and how we go about our business. Pamela has been able to deep dive into human design in a very beautiful way. She's been able to venture to Portugal, which, if you've been a part of the human design following in Eric's group Wonderment, I'm sure you also wanted to go to Portugal. And Pamela has been. And, that alone was just so delicious. And her knowledge and her wisdom that she's been able to cultivate and expand through the last 4 years of her deep dive into human design is just beautiful. Me, on the other hand, I stuck to strategy and authority. I'm gonna have to cough for a second, so I'm gonna mute. Hold on one moment, please. Okay, sorry. Um, my my journey for the past 4 years is with human design has been sticking to my strategy and authority, being very clear on what is my energy and what is not my energy, my not self energy. Again, let me go ahead and pull this picture up. Bam. There we go. This is me. I'm gorgeous. All of this beautiful, I need to stop doing that. Everything, all that gorgeousness is, that's who I am. So for me, for the last 4 years, all these beautiful white areas right here, these are what are called not self centers. Pamela, would you give a little bit of a blah about some not self centers, please, if that is something you feel haunted?
Yeah, I'm going to change the wording. I wouldn't call them not self-centers. They are undefined or open centers. If they have a hanging gate off them, they're undefined. If they don't have a hanging gate, then they're open. These are centers where we do not have consistent energy. So this is where it's easy for the not self to come in. This is where we can be conditioned by other people. And that's why Jessica calls them not self centers, because that's where we find a lot of our not self is in those centers because they've been so easy conditioned. However, the white centers are still part of who we are. We just amplify the other person if they're in our aura. Um, but you'll see that there's hanging gates also coming from these open centers. So there has to be some form of energy coming from these centers for these gates to be part of who we are.
So for me, one of the open centers that really glitched me is the
Mhm.
is the open G. And my beautiful Pamela is defined in the G center. And I'm going to stop talking and let her go ahead with that because she has way better words than I do.
Well, just to also share with everyone here, my human design, I do have the right angle cross of explanation. My freak to genius is my design sun and earth that I'm aware of. So I have a way of explaining things, and sometimes people will get it straight away, and sometimes I have to explain it many a times. So if this doesn't land, absolutely fine. Also, just a precursor before I go any further, don't believe anything I say. This is all an experiment. Each gate, each gate has 1080 variables. Although I might have a defined G center, there are hundreds of thousands of G centers that may look similar to mine, maybe hooked up similar to mine, but are so completely different. So we are all different. Like even with Jessica, she's got that gate 46 there. I also have gate 46. And this is the love of the body. And so Jessica will have consistent energy or not to that gate 36 of love of the body, love of the human, love of the physical. Um, and From a defined G center point of view, it's really difficult to open to talk about the open or the undefined G center because I have no idea what Jessica's experiencing. I can't feel what she's feeling, but what I am aware of is that she's probably amplifying my G center. And she could probably tell you more of what's going on for me in my G center than I can for myself. And that's
And
the beautiful wisdom of the white in our human design, is that we can have awareness of others. And therefore we can potentially bring healing to others because we can amplify that. And as long as the other person can see that as a mirror and not take it too personally, then there's transformation and transcendence and all sorts of wisdom that comes through that.
and that is what's beautiful when I get to work with her, because when I am with Pamela, I I'm a feeling person. All of my awareness, all of my everything comes from my body feels, and it is exhausting. Okay, most of the time I'm feeling things I have zero clue why I'm feeling them, and then all of a sudden it'll pop in, and I can't even tell you why. And I'm not here to prove to you, I'm not here to explain to you, I'm not here to do anything other than share with you. And that can be a very interesting journey.
Mhm.
That can be a very interesting journey. So let's share. I've been in the 3D world. And while in the 3D world of humans, and when I say that, I've been around people who are not really choosing to do healing. I've been around humans that are choosing to just accept themselves for who they are, which there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, let me be clear on that too. Okay? If you are very satisfied with the human being that you are, by all means, stay who you are. Like I'm not here to tell you you are right or wrong for being that. For me, on the other hand, I am always expanding. And I when I came into human design, I was like, "Oh, wow." Having this awareness that like the head, the ajna, that's all amplified frequency of other energy of the people who are defined around me. So like my grandmother, it was my grandmother. She was such a strong voice, always stuck in my head and constantly, going around in my head. And for me, with deep diving and conscious awareness and deep diving into Reiki Archangel, it's Archangel Angelic Reiki is what it is. And it's clearing the aura with the divine frequencies and with Mary Magdalene. And when it's working in that energy, it allowed me to see that this energy that I'm amplifying, I could do something with it. I didn't have to just push it away. I could freeze it, and once I froze it, whoa, I had space. I had space to breathe, which got me out of reaction, right? Because I was studying my strategy and authority. So as a generator, we're here to respond, not to react. Tell a generator we're here to respond and not react. Oh, I respond. I always respond. We're lying to ourselves. We do not respond. We are reaction Jacksons, man. Like, for real. And then it's like spending the last like couple years understanding what the difference is between reaction and response and breath, and how breath really, Eric's breath work at the end of his sessions of his lives. And in truth, we met on Eric's Wonder Group. Our beginnings, like, I highly recommend it. If you want to know more about yourself, it's on you. This no one came and hit us with a magic stick. Did you have a magic stick hit you, Pamela? I didn't have a magic stick hit me. Come back. I want you to talk to
Definitely
me.
had I definitely had a magic nudge
Nudge.
because for me, how it fell into my lap was obviously during the lovely lockdown side of things. Um, I was trying to get a job and not, it's just everything was just going to pot. And I just went, there's got to be more to life than this. And then I was invited to do a meditation in a group called Sacred Solstice. Was that where you also discovered Eric?
Yep.
Yeah, there you go.
Vicky
So,
McClin. Let's
yeah,
give a shout
so
out to our manifestor, Vicky McClin.
yeah.
Am I
And
saying her name
Emanella,
right?
and yeah,
Because
Vicky
she is
McClellan,
awesome. She is awesome.
Emanella, and Sarah
Awesome.
Stanbrook. And it was quite interesting because when Vicky McClellan was actually doing that, she thought that she was a projector.
Yes, I remember.
When she's actually a manifester. So there she is waiting for an invitation, and she's the one that's meant to be initiating. Hilarious. Um, so yeah, so she created that with two other women, and
Emma
um,
and Sarah, gorgeous women
Emma
also.
Sarah, and it's Emma's
Miss
birthday
Emma.
tomorrow, actually.
Love Emma. Emma was one of the first humans to really see me in such a beautiful divine energy. Like, oh, and
Hmm.
let's open this too to like all the beautiful people that we've been able to interact with, because we
Oh
really
yeah.
have had Mary, oh, I can't remember her name right now. Mary, we found her on summer solstice too. She was awesome. She walked me through like one of the most beautiful meditate Mary Ann Hamilton, one of the most beautiful meditations,
Hmm.
right into my universe. Oh, it was gorgeous.
Hmm.
Absolutely gorgeous. Go on. I didn't mean to
Hmm.
cut you off.
That's all right. Your manifested generator thing. That's you. Yeah.
He said I could
So
still
this is it.
replay
There
you.
is a slight, just to share that there is a slight hierarchy. Like we have like the manifestors, manifesting generators, generators, projectors, reflectors. So yeah, when that manifesting generator voice got coming, when that motor to the throat comes in, the generator just can't compete. It's got to sit back and just wait to respond.
And I appreciate that I'm not doing it to cut you off. I'm not doing it to just validate what you're saying. It's just like this inner knowing that comes in and just has to spit out at that time. And you don't wrong me for that. And I want you to know how much I appreciate that because whew, that can be difficult at times. I am not
Hmm.
trying to do that, but we're gonna add this guy back to the stage because truth, this defined throat right here trips me up. It does, and I don't mean to cut people off, and yet I do, and I apologize for it. But in truth, I should not be apologizing for it, and that's something I'm still trying to adjust to. So,
We call the energy from your roots. It goes from all the way from your roots through your emotional
oh
center up to your throat. So you got all this, like your root is a motor as well. That's why it's your emotional center. So you got like all this energy going in.
yeah,
And I have a defined throat. Um, I'm pointing at the screen as if anybody can see what I'm doing. I'm pointing, but you can see that there is this channel that goes from the 41 to the 30 and a 22 to 12. That root at the bottom is a motor, and so is the emotional center. So you've got all this energy go through into the throat. I have a defined throat myself. However, mine comes from the ajna to the throat. So from the 4323, that's the channel I talked about, the Freak to Genius. I also have the 1762 as well, and Hanging Gate 11. But that's completely disconnected from my throat. So there's no motor behind it. It's just instinct. It's just an intuition type, like, yeah, intuitive type voice. So I can't cut across a motor because I'm just going to get like rolled over, like just, yeah. So that's perfect. So yeah, I watched the Secret Solstice went over the Sacred Solstice went over like 3 days or something, and I went to watch this meditation, and um, it just got so late, and I was like, I'm not going to watch the meditation. I'm going to look at it tomorrow. And then the next day, I opened it up, and I saw this thing say 3 of 3, and I was like, 3 of 3, part 3 of 3. What are you on about? And then I found a part 2 of 3, and then human design, 1 of 3. I'm like, what is it that somebody's so struggling to get out there? They're willing to take 3 attempts to it. Now, my design has the channel struggle. So I wanted to have a look. I'm really irritated with my lighting. I do apologize. I wanted to be a bit brighter. I know I'm a bit brighter, but it seems a bit dark on the screen. Weird. Um,
But
I
it
know it's
also
nighttime,
doesn't
but
that's the thing, it doesn't help that we're in the middle of the day for me and it's nighttime for you. So across the pond, it's already nighttime, and here I have the sun shining as bright
hmm
as it can in the desert. So
yeah, I know. And we've had the clocks change as well, so it's like even darker. Ugh. Anyway, it's beautiful. I love it. Um, and so I was like, with my channel struggle, I was just like, I had to have a look, just see what this is all about. And yeah, my being just was attracted to it. It just felt good. It felt right. And there's a part of my design which is a third line, which Jessica would have had for the first 40 part of her years, when she's talking about when she's 38, that's her getting to the end of this trial and error phase. And she's getting to the point where she's getting over it. Like, I've had enough. I just ugh.
it's so how it makes sense though, like it is so that was what was neat. Like when I first heard my first reading with Eric, and he's like, "Oh, a line six." Can you give a little explanation of a line six and like what that actually
Oh, so there's three phases to the line six. The first phase is for the first 40 plus years of your life is once you're ready to turn. Everyone's a bit different. Um, but it's usually mid 40s, around that. Um, you're in what they call the third line. So the sixth line is called the role model, and the third line is known as the martyr. So constantly trial and error. The third line is that person who you tell the child, don't touch that, it's hot. And they go, oh, is it? And they have to touch it to feel it. They can't just be told, they have to experience it. It has to be experienced, and they have to do this trial and error. Oh, let's try that out. Oh, there's an error there. Now, what
was hot?
happens with the third line? It is, yeah. Yes, it's hot, and I burnt myself. Woohoo! Um,
Stick
the
my
one
finger in
thing,
the window.
yeah, that's it. Yeah. So, these third lines, us third lines, we're like trial and error, trial and error, trial and error. And what can happen is that we can end up beating ourselves up for making so many mistakes. And when that happens, that's when we can get so easily sucked into being people pleasers because we just don't want to make mistakes. We don't want to look like the fool all the time. Never seem to be learning. Always seem to be making mistakes. But when a third line is asked a question, what did you learn from that? Oh, the satisfaction to explain what you learned so that you can share that makes you not feel like you're a jester. Doesn't make you feel like you're a joke or anything. It makes you feel like, oh, actually, this is what I'm meant to be doing. And then through that trial and error, the sixth line will then become the role model because they've experienced it. And then they can go, ha, I've been there, done that, got the t-shirt. Like literally sitting on the
It
roof,
wasn't
watching that.
fun.
But you're over it at the same time. It's like, I've done it. Don't want to do it anymore. It's like, yeah, whatever. I'm over it. And then you get to another phase in your life in sort of, I think it's your 50s sort of age where you then try to jump into the next line sort of thing. Into your, so I can't remember what it is now. I'll have to remember this, but this is something that I learned recently. And so there's another phase where you're looking for another get out, but you can't get away from who you are. But there's this part of you that wants to and craves that. Um, and yeah, you just have to accept the fact that you are who you are. What you're feeling is perfectly fine. What's going on right now is as it's meant to be. And as soon as you start thinking and creating the illusion of who you should be or how you should be feeling or anything like that, that's when you take yourself further away from yourself, from who you truly are, from what really lights you up, because then again you're going through this process of people pleasing, be something you're not because you're so worried about what other people see and judge. Um, and we have been so deeply conditioned to judge people. Like,
But it's also the frequency that they give out, like, and that's just something I have to say,
oh
like,
yeah,
when I went into this, I thought that as long as I thought I could create a checks and balance thing or like, okay, I now know how the fuckery happens. Now that I know where we're amplifying things, now that I know where what's mine, right? Now that I'm aware of programs and all this stuff I'm aware of, like, I got this.
Mhm.
Nothing's gonna. Oh, especially once I learned how to Merkaba my auric field, I was so like, ha! I've got this. No,
Mhm.
hurt people, and those people that
Mhm.
are hurting you. The only reason they can hurt you is because you love them. You know, and when you look at that, you have to also question. You know, and this is where I've been in this last period of frequency of time. When you love someone, it's where it gets tricky, I have to say, because that's where it's like you want to have acceptance of their energy in your field. You don't want to have to call them out on their fuckery behavior. Let's call it for what it is. Like humans can act like some straight jerks, and there's just no reason for it. None at
Mhm.
all. Like, there really
Mhm.
isn't. Especially if you have, like, this kind of knowledge and stuff, like, come on now, seriously? You know?
Even with, unfortunately, yeah, even with the knowledge, there are still humans on the world, on this planet, that are here to test us and try us. And like, I know there's things that have happened, and certainly in my world, where I've been in a place where I'm thinking, you guys know my human design better than anyone. Why am I being treated this way? And you just can't help the mechanics of it. You cannot help the mechanics of it. If that person is meant to be a fuckery of a human being, then love them as a fuckery of a human being. That's the way you have to be with it. You just have to love them, warts and all. And that's what human design teaches you. It teaches you to love yourself, warts and all. And it's what's the important thing is not about loving the other, is about loving self first. And this
Exactly.
is the thing with the Open G Center. It doesn't have its own identity. It doesn't have consistent energy to its identity and therefore identity to love of self. And I struggle. I am still deconditioning from I got a defined G center, but I'm still deconditioning because I have been surrounded with open G centers all my life. Like my whole family were all open G centers. My mum and my dad were open G centers. Only my brother was a defined G center. And so whenever I come into Vortex with people with defined G centers, like, oh my God, it feels amazing. But there are some defined G centers out there that are still really hurt and want to blame the other rather than bringing love to themselves. So yeah, even with defined centers, just because it's got consistent energy doesn't mean it's not conditioned. So
But
yeah,
that
you still have to
but
be
that's
careful.
but that's where the cool thing about me comes in, you know, and
Hmm.
the avenue and the direction that I went about. Because I did spend so much time in the conscious awareness time. It's because I did spend so much time, in really understanding my aura. And human design was a big part of that, right? Because how can I understand my aura without my design, my blueprint?
Hmm.
You know,
Exactly.
now that I have my blueprint, I can go, okay, where it's white, chances are I'm amplifying somebody else's stuff because that's 10 times louder than anything else in my system. So let's
Hmm.
first start there and let's freeze everything out, and then you
Hmm.
have a moment where you can breathe and you're like, whoa. And
Hmm.
it's so neat to be able to come and work with someone like you where I'm like, hey, let's try the way that I kind of experimented with
Hmm.
it and see if it works for you. Because here's the great thing, and this is what I love so much about this, it's an experiment. I'm not pushing it down your throat. Like, you want to try it? You don't want to try it? Cool. Either way, like, if you choose to try, you're just going to go down on my paper as like experiment number two, and how this went about. And did this also work for this human too? Because that's the thing I think I've really found myself in is really understanding what works, you know?
Hmm.
And instead of getting lost in the energy of the hurt people who are hurting me, right? Because then in truth, I want to turn around and hurt them right back. And it's not my lower, and I'm going to call it for what it is. It's not my lower energies, my demonic energies that's trying to feed off of you, because I've already transmuted those. I've already done the work. I have done the work. Like, I have been in the depths. I have gone deep in, and because of that, I understand that, and I'm going to bring this up again, that in truth, when I stand, it gets to a point where my dragon comes out, right? And when I talk about my dragon, it's my root sacral energy. And my root sacral energy is in it. And I'm not really sure which one. So, Pamela, I'm sure you can speak more onto what this passionate frequency of enough is enough, enough of the fuckery, enough of, this lower energy, time to transmute and move forward, because in truth, this is all in my design. And the more I understood, like, this is who I am. I'm here to call humans out on their fuckery. I don't like it. I don't find it fun at all. I don't. There's no part of me that truly enjoys it. Like, I'm going back to where I can see you. No part of me enjoys calling humans out on their nonsense behavior. I'm going to tell you, I don't enjoy it. I don't feel stable in it. You know why? Because I'm an open G, and I'm an open ego, and I'm an open head, and an open Najna. So I'm not here to give you words. I'm not here to prove to you. I'm not even here to know who the heck I am to be telling you this in the first place. You know? And in that frequency of it, I feel that there's also this inner knowing of my true passionate frequency of who I am. And I do know when enough is enough. And I do know my own passion. I do have this beautiful inner knowing that just drops in, and I just know, I have this frequency of beliefs. And instead of just getting lost in the beliefs, I also have a frequency of facts, where I have to find the facts in the beliefs. And that's where my experiment comes into it. I see you have something.
I do feel I have something. I don't know. And just listen to what you're saying, and it's just lovely to hear your perspective of who you see yourself as, and where I see some differences to that.
Please share.
Mm.
Because that's what's beautiful
What
about
you said
this.
about, yeah, where you talked about the open head and not knowing who you are, that is more of either you know or you don't know. Not necessarily who you are, because you will, like, there is this. Oh, just trying not to allow my freak to genius to trip me up. Because for me, what you're describing is something that I would feel with an open emotional center, like avoiding conflict. Like, I couldn't put people, yeah, you don't find it enjoyable, but you can do it because you don't have to feel somebody else's amplified emotion from it. But
No, but I
somebody like
feel the
me,
the G center. The amplified G center is what gets me glitched on that.
mm,
That's what makes me question if I even have a right to tell you anything, because how? I don't even know who I am. And I'm not here to prove it either.
exactly, that's where you got that Heartbreak Hotel. It's what they call Heartbreak Hotel. It's that open G center, open will center, because you can't prove that you know who you are. You can't prove that you love yourself. You can't improve. You don't, because you don't need to. It's not that you can't do it. It's because you don't need to, because you're fully whole and complete in those areas as it is. It's just that other people's energies come in and try to go, that's not who you are. This is who you are. And you go, no, that's fucking not who I am. But at the time, you're like, oh, is that? Oh, right. Because I don't know, because I'm open. So, okay, you must be right because you seem to know me better than I know myself.
And that's all happening unconsciously.
Exactly.
The
You just have
complete
to have somebody,
invisible
you just
unconscious
say
conversation
anything.
happening.
There is no conversation happening. Just have somebody walking your aura and they're having a shit day. You're like, oh, I feel so bad. I'm having a bad day. Like, it's like, yeah, it's not even you, it's somebody else.
That's why I have to freeze it. I'm like, "Whoa, what just happened?" I'm like, "Everything all this is not mine, not mine, not mine." Or I'm like,
Mhm.
"Okay, but it's in my field, so it must be mine, right?" And then no,
Mhm.
no, that's not
Mm.
true, you know? And so that's where I feel like I'm in the process of like, "All right, Pamela, assistance, please, because I have gotten a little knocked on the noggin while playing out in the outside. I had fun. I had a hot girl summer. I was naked. I was skinny. I'm happy. Life is good." And then I try to get humans to love me, and that didn't really work out so hot. Like, I kind of got a little wonky donkey man. Like, whoa, we went to the left. So then I enjoyed just floating in the pool.
Mhm.
So it was splendid.
Yeah.
And that, it's funny too, the Eric's little live the other day about environments, right? And how I'm a cave. In truth, lazy river without a float, no, 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 not fun. I do not enjoy that. Lazy river in my little donut where I feel like I'm tucked in my little cave, I'm in the happiest place of my life. Like, yeah. So all of this stuff just keeps ringing so true, and because I didn't truly dive deep into the lines and the different gates, that is where I'm coming to you for your assistance. And as generators, we're trying to share this with
Mhm.
others so that way you can also see why we feel as generators for other generators why this is so important. And we're going to demonstrate the
Mhm.
different ways we use our different beautiful gifts and how to really take people off of pedestal energy. It's not necessary. Don't
Mhm.
believe us. We're just giving you little like tidbits, little ideas to for you to go experiment on your own. And we want you to
Mhm.
have your own experiment so you can come back one day and have a conversation with us about how your experiment went. Because in truth,
Mhm.
we're actually interested. That's like the neat part about this. When you can remove all that yuck, heavy, nasty programs that don't allow energy that actually serves you to enter your field, right?
Mhm.
You get to have conversations where you get to see each other and we get to take each other out of the subways and back into the symphony halls where we belong, you know?
Mhm.
And so my Pamela, like I want you to know how much I appreciate you and how
Mhm.
I'm very grateful for how we're going to unfold this experiment and
Yeah.
show others how these things are and how you can cut me off at any time and be like, this is this and this is that
Mhm.
to demonstrate what this looks like, because
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, it's 70% of the population are generators. So 70% of the people that we're speaking to here, you're a generator. And you're asking that question, who am I? Who am I? Who am I? And you'll be asking that question until the day you die. But how about having a bit of fun, discovering who you are and finding what lights you up and what brings you so much empowerment as well as purpose and enrichment to your life, enriching your life by actually holding what is lighting you up and releasing what no longer serves you. Like just getting rid of that baggage that you don't need to carry with you anymore because it's not yours, it's somebody else's BS that you don't need to have anymore. And I'm so grateful that we've got this opportunity to be able to be the support network that I feel human design's been calling for. And yeah, excited for what's about to unfold for us.
and I think it's neat too that we get to show how there's so many different divination tools. You know,
Hmm.
there really are. And there's things that you're going to get hyper focused on. There are things you're going to keep wanting to consume more and more and more knowledge about.
Or not.
There's some you're
That's a
going to be
beautiful
like,
thing. Yeah,
there's some you're going
yeah.
to walk into and you're going to be like, why am I even here?
Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. Never
It's
believe
all
anything we say.
and it's all perfectly wonderful, like, that's the thing that I think is so beautiful about this, you
Mm.
know?
Just
Yeah.
yeah, just knowing that you're fully loved and accepted however you show up.
Yeah, and we will not accept any nonsense. So,
Uh-uh.
this is a place for complete expansion,
Mhm.
generators learning how to become humans again, I guess, because it's kind of like a thing of releasing the old programs of humans. Because truth, like, is it really serving you? Are you really
Mm.
happy with your life? Like, I'm not. I'm not happy with all this heavy, yucky bleh that I picked up. I'm not happy
Mhm.
not knowing who I am and being very clear on who I am, because it's not about creating a checks and balance list. It's like Pamela said, it's about honoring who we are, loving ourselves. So that way we can also be able to be mirrors, or sometimes just a sounding board to another
Mm.
human, because we don't have to make it about ourselves. Most of the time when someone's speaking, it has nothing to do with you. It's everything to do with them and everything that's going on with them. And as humans, we've been programmed to make it all about us, and it's still a thing that's happening. Even in driving, think about it. How many people, when you're in the car, do you feel in here in America? I've seen your beautiful little town. I wish I could just portal right on over there with your cobblestone streets and the horses. And oh my gosh, it's so beautiful, the English gardens. But in the desert, we have road rage craziness. Like, it's insanity. And it's all someone thinks they're more important than the other. And somebody's not going to make it home tonight because of that. And, enough is enough. Enough with this nonsense. Enough with not taking accountability. And if you're really ready to step into a frequency of who you are and stepping into your accountability, because in truth, there's no instant gratification in this. I can't magically make it better. It doesn't work like that. You have to do it on your own. You have to make the choices. But you have to also choose to put yourself in frequencies of others that are actually trying to move in the same direction. Because from what I've learned being back in the 3D, surrounded in this, no wonder you go back. Like, no wonder. Whoa, Nelly. No, I'm coming back to the 5D, coming back to conjoin this whole frequency of learning how to be in the 3D and the 5D. And I think that's what together Pamela and I get to really assist with. And it's not think, it's actually in our design. And that's the cool part about it. So, if you're willing and excited to go on this journey with us, keep an eye open. I think we're going to try to be going live around this time. And really, do you have anything else today? I kind of feel complete today. You feel complete?
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
She's sacral, so I listen to her. And I'm all over the place. So we just deal with Jessica's all
Yeah,
over.
you're emotional. Let's not talk it over the place. You're emotional. You
All over.
have your own wave.
It's all over the place. And then it
Yeah,
has a
it's a
sacral
beautiful wave.
too, because the waves all like do 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 do. And then I have my splenic that's like, it's enough. Now I'm like, yeah, I'm done talking too. And then my sacral is like, uh-huh. And I'm like, all right, we got two uh-huhs. We're done. And so yeah, that's kind of how we stable out the ocean. So you get to learn about Jessica, because I'm going to use myself as the experiment person. And then I have my beautiful practitioner friend, Jen, that also wants to come in, and we're going to demonstrate kind of our thing on her too. And then we're going to like have fun with each other. And this is going to be a space where generators get to be generators and ask questions and grow and all the beautiful stuff. I don't know if anybody's been chatting, because honestly, ha, I forgot to figure out how to hit the button to figure that one out. But hey, I finally went live, and if you know me, this is an accomplishment. So we will be moving forward, and we will be riding our rides of struggle, and we will complete these waves one way and another. I am complete today. Namaste. Thank you very much for joining us. And energetic butterfly. Check out Pamela. She has so many amazing things. And yeah, I'm done. You have anything else?
Nope. Just
Nope.
bye bye. Thanks for joining us.
Toodaloo.
Bye bye.